In this module, we'll be covering the various uses for content panels. As an example, we're going to be working on the Rethink Church page on umc.org, but anywhere that a content panel is available, any of the page templates that leverage that component, this training will be applicable. So, because the content panels are available on parent pages, we're going to be working in both the content editor and the experience editor. We're going to start over on the content editor. For the campaign page, when you create a campaign page, several content panels are going to be created by default. Now, if you navigate to each of these individual pieces, go to Content Panel 1, for instance, you're going to see the title of the component. If you get several of these panels, what you can do is I would suggest retitling them for organization's sake, especially if the content is going to be somewhat consistent, forthgoing, like maybe first content panel for placement would be useful, or if you wanted to do something more specific, like a call to action or video section content panel. The thing to keep in mind is if you change this name, you still need to be able to identify what sort of data set this is. So if it were just called video section, you would be reliant on just the icon to tell you that it's content panel. Whereas if you title it with content panel in there, you'll be able to keep track of it. Since there are so many content panels on the campaign page, I'm going to suggest retitling them if you use more than two. But it's really up to your organizational preferences. So moving down this specific content panel that we're working on, the quick info we've covered in other components, but the content panel is going to be really the only thing that displays on this component. If you click Show Editor, this will open up the WYSIWYG editor. The what you see is what you get. You can tell this particular component is designed to handle text, images, and video. This video has been placed using YouTube iframe, the embed methodology that they use. It may take a little bit of working to get the video exactly the aspect ratio that you want, but just know that the content panel can handle text, images, and video. So for now, we're going to accept that. Remember, this is video section content panel. We're going to save it. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to move up to Rethink Church, the page, and I'm going to publish the page. Typically, I don't do this until I have finished editing all the various components within that page, but since this video focuses solely on the content panel, I'm going to stick with that. Now, when you publish the page, you'll have the option to select sub-items, and that will also publish the video section content panel we just created. So I'm going to close this, and we're going to navigate back over to the experience editor. I'm going to close this one and launch a brand new one. You can do that by going Publish, and just to the right is the experience editor. It's the icon with a series of crayons. Experience editor is a little bit slower than the content editor, so it takes 10 to 30 seconds for the experience editor to fully load. While it's doing that, I'm going to go back to the content editor. You can see all of these 6 content panels. Just keep in mind when you're working in the content editor that these components are actually data sets that can be leveraged within a component. So if you go back to the experience editor side, we're going to scroll down, and this is a content panel. So is this. You continue scrolling, this is a content panel, and so is this. All told, this template loads with 6. So you can see that the content panel, specifically on the campaign page, is leveraged in several places. Now, once you select, if we select this content panel over here and change the associated content, we can select this video section content panel that I created, click OK. Then after it loads, the same video content panel that is here is going to load here. And that's because in the content editor, we're not actually creating the components. Instead, we're creating data sets that can be leveraged into those components using the Experience Editor. That allows us to create data sets that can kind of be like they can kind of be along the lines of, like, think of them as bench warmers. They're waiting until they can be until they're needed. So here, if we go back, you'll see they're exactly the same, and the reason for that is because they're the exact same content panel. You can select a new associated piece of content, and that will bring up these other content panels. Just make the changes to the content panels as you see fit. Select the correct data set, and you're ready to go with your content panels.